Project Hail Mary is a gorgeous, funny, sweet, big, speculative sci-fi film. This was one of the most anticipated movies of the year. I avoided everything going in. No trailers, didn't read the book, didn't even really learn anything about the plot. I just heard the early buzz was fantastic, and as someone who had never read the book, I found this far more charming and endearing than I expected. Much less of an interstellar space mission and far more a film about friendship and hope. Lord and Miller continue to prove that he can really do it all, from the Jump Street films to the Spider-Verse films to a more intimate space epic. I trust them in any genre they would like to tackle now. Daniel Pemberton's score with ethereal and angelic. This movie revolves around Ryland Grace, played by none other than Ryan Gosling, who's a science teacher when he wakes up on a spaceship light years from home with no recollection of who he is or how he got there. Then we're taken on a journey between past and present as he's getting his memories and trying to save the Earth. But then he meets an unexpected friend to help him on his mission. Ryan Gosling's charm crosses galaxies, and I don't even know how successful this would be without him at the helm. The tension and stakes never quite felt real for me enough to ever be holding my breath at any moment, but the fellowship and bonding between Grace and Rocky was always enough to keep me leaning in. The film looks beautiful, but I still think this is a less visually interesting than Greg Fraser in recent works like in Dune or The Batman. Dazzling to see in IMAX though, and I never expected to hear Sandra Hüller sing Harry Styles. It made me like Sign of the Times. And I have to say, Lord and Miller still admirably construct a sweeping and sentimental sci-fi problem solver with this Andy Wheeler adaptation. It's a technical qualities and often breathtaking, with a strong sense of tactility to the interior ship environments, and that Greg Fraser continues to impress with his cinematography, while at times it trades in the depth of Wyer's novel for convenience. Still, Miller, Lord, and Goddard understood what fundamentally made the story so compelling in the first place, and it's hope via connection. Not sure if anyone could do what Gosling is doing here, and again I have to say Pemberton going ham on the score. The part of the Tamiba collection scene is incredible. Honestly, I would call this a crowd pleasing, but ultimately, whether you like it or not, the body dynamic at the heart of this movie will leave a big grin in your face by the end credit, even if it feels like it pushes a few too many buttons to get there. While enjoyable, that doesn't come close to a major standout of its genre, nor a film I would imagine myself thinking back on much at all by the end of the year, sadly. I can already feel it slipping away, and it's not even been a full week since I watched it. I think it's kind of like Mickey 17 from last year was similar. Truly enjoyed my viewing experience with both, but not sure I would casually throw them on for a revisit anytime soon. But if there is one thing I loved most about Hail Mary, it was just how truly alien Rocky felt. More human-like than the Heptads in Arrival, sure, but still fairly unlike anything we've seen or imagined before, and full of earnest and delight and wonder rather than the terror and threat. Also, if there is anything that holds this whole thing back from being an absolute masterpiece, it's how many of the beats feel just a little unearned. So much of the film takes place in montage form, and why the pacing is very fluid, aspects that feel substantial and revelatory are often skipped over. I don't necessarily mind speedrunning the language learning of Arrival or the cosmic travel sail of Interstellar, but lots of pieces and key moments feel merely underdeveloped in the wake of it all. And it gives the distinct feeling of movies skimming over something that got multiple chapters in a book. But also I want to talk about Sandra Hüller because I think she was perfect cast as well. Though I think I would have loved even more screen time for her, I think her and Lionel Poy's characters balance out the quirkiness that Grace brings very, very well. Obviously, companies like Marvel have relied on webs for a long time, but Project Hail Mary feels far more organic. It's a big budget sci-fi movie which it isn't an action flick, propelling itself along through mystery and human drama. It tells a story with no villain, instead building a series of twists that reveals themselves late and are emotionally effective. At almost 2 hours and 40 minutes, Project Hail Mary may seem like it should be too long, but I found it completely engaging throughout. I do miss when Ryan Gosling wore the more interesting stuff like Drive and First Man, but he's become a reliably fun blockbuster presence. While Project Hail Mary may not be very distinctive, it's a familiar and reassuring film that displays solid filmmaking and craftsmanship and a lot of charm. Also, I think the producers clearly weren't shy to go for a gold on all conceivable levels. They want to make sure that everyone is pleased, from cinephiles to 10-year-olds that would go to watch the opening weekend. There were a few moments during this where I caught myself smiling, and not at a joke or anything, but at the sheer possibility of what I was watching. That feeling of dazzle and discover, the grand and the intimate. It was beautiful, and there was a particular kind of joy in watching a film that feels like stumbling into a version of cinema you forgot existed. It's like a childlike wonder and a sense of hope. At the end of the day, it's a very enjoyable film, and I think it's one of my favorite experiences in a movie theater in a long time. There was no one talking, no one was holding your phone. Everyone's head was just straight to the screen, glued, because you really can't take your eyes off of it. And also, I think it's one of those films that you can really take all your family to go watch it with you, because everyone's going to like it, from a 70-year-old to a 10-year-old. So yeah, watch it, make your own opinions, and that's it.